Good evening and welcome to Story Hour. I am tonight's host, Laura Blackwell. My co-host, the marvelous Daniel Marcus, started Story Hour over 6 years ago. When we were in the throes of the shelter in place orders and the pandemic. And now we are in different throes, but we still need stories every Wednesday. And so here we are. We have, as usual, two fantastic writers fantastically reading their fantastic stories. Does that work? It's all true. And tonight, our readers are Mike Allen and Jordan Kurella. If you're here on Zoom, feel free to chime in on the text chat if you like. If you're joining us on YouTube, welcome. We may not be there chatting, but we sure would love it if you'd leave us a little thumbs up or a note of encouragement. Makes us feel good. And our first reader tonight is Mike Allen. Mike Allen's latest novel, Trail of Shadows, from Broken Eye Books, starts with a spectral encounter on the Appalachian Trail and gets stranger and stranger still from there. Two of his collections of horror tales, Unseeming and the aftermath of an industrial accident, were Shirley Jackson Award finalists. And as an editor, he's two-time World Fantasy Award nominee. His short fiction has appeared in Apex Magazine, Beneath Ceaseless Skies, Cosmic Horror Monthly, Interzone, Weird Tales, and most recently in the Bram Stoker and Locus Award-nominated Storyteller, a Tanith Lee tribute anthology. With his wife and creative partner, Anita, he runs Mythic Delirium Books in Roanoke, Virginia. Follow him on Instagram at Mythic Delirium and Blue Sky at Mythic Delirium. Mike, welcome.
Glad to be back, Laura and Daniel.
Us too. If we don't reach out, it's not because we don't love you and want you back, because we do. We're just ditzy, I guess.
Well, it's not as if you've not had other writers, in the interim. So plenty to pick from, plenty of worthy candidates.
It's true that there are a lot of wonderful writers in the world, but you and Jordan are two of the ones we wish to make sure to keep close, not lose track of.
Well, thank
So
you.
there.
Um,
So,
go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, I understand that there's something especially cool about the story that you're reading for us tonight.
Well, I certainly hope the folks who hear it feel that way. So the story that I'm going to read, I can speak English. The story that I'm going to read, The Cruelest Team Will Win, is included in uh, my new novel, Trail of Shadows, uh, which
Oh,
is
nice.
a very spidery novel. Uh, the yeah, Broken Eye Books did a wonderful job recruiting this cover from Italian artist Daniel Serra. That
Oh my God, that's Daniel Sarah.
Yes, uh, and I'm going to this is cutting into my time and Jordan's, I realize, but so
It's
the
okay.
if you get the paperback edition, it has this fascinating inside cover art illustration by Kirsty Greenwood that has to do with it's her vision of the spirit world in which much of the novel takes place. And um, and Scott also, in addition to recruiting this cool art, uh, allowed me to talk him into including my story, The Cruelest Team Will Win, as kind of a bonus epilogue at the very end because it takes place after the novel. There's a it's funny how the publishing world works or doesn't work because this story actually appeared in print like 10 years before the novel did. But its events its events come after the novel. Uh,
Mhm.
and so it's really nice to have it there, and also it's really fun to read. So there's a utilitarian purpose to having it in there, which I suppose I should share it, if that sounds good.
Absolutely. Now, as for any content warnings, I
Oh,
understand there are spiders and maybe
so
some
there are definitely
murdery death.
spiders. There are definitely spiders. There, uh, content warnings. What would call? So, to my mind, this is a fairly lighthearted story on the scale of what I write. There's certainly physical danger, and uh, some very, very strange drug use, but I don't think anything quite rates like a traumatic trigger warning.
Okay.
So you're
That is
welcome to tell me if
all
I'm wrong
we
about that.
that
Well,
is all we need.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Please, please read.
Okay. The cruelest team will win. A spider with a leg span wider than my outstretched hand squeezed out from the space behind the light switch and spread its wings. I froze, finger still on the toggle. Behind me, the dust-draped ceiling fan hummed into life, the light bulb beneath it flicking on to paint the monster with my shadow. The marks on its body formed a single staring eye above a screaming mouth. Two more false eyes glared red across its dragonfly wings. Another hideous little soul turned demonic, yearning to grow into something far worse. I showed it my own spirit form. It made good on its threat and lifted into the air, but its terrifying modification only made my task easier and my beak closed around it. The poison from its crushed body spread warmth as it slid down my gullet. The first time I ate one of its kind, that poison made me quite sick. I underestimated how sick I'd get. I told my sweet neighbor across the hall that her 3-year-old wouldn't wake up screaming anymore, that her apartment was safe again. Minutes later, I drove to work at the fabric store, nearly crashed my car just trying to park, staggered inside and barely made it into the bathroom stall, dry heaving over the toilet while my manager clucked behind me. Leanne, are you okay? You need the hospital? But when you eat a ghost, there's nothing to throw up. And the kind of poison a tainted soul puts in you, no doctor can help. So I told her I'd be fine. It was just food poisoning and I'd be over it soon. I couldn't go home. I needed the money too much. So I sucked it up and hailed and headed out onto the sales floor. And then I found out something else about that poison. When the nausea subsided, a euphoria kicked in, not far removed from the time I mixed my prescription muscle relaxant with peach schnapps. A lava lamp glow oozing through me. All day, I fought the urge to take my blue jay form right there in the store. My wings, slices of sky, would stretch longer than the fabric tables, and then I'd fly right through the ceiling like a ghost gone giant, melding my blue with the blue above. I did that once, a couple years ago when I was less weighted with sad knowledge of the world. Quit a job at a print shop by going Blue Jay right in front of my skeevy boss and flapping away through the cinder block wall into the shimmering heavens of the spirit world. But when I returned to Earth, I still needed to pay for my classes, to cover my rent, to eat. That sad weight kept me grounded that first delirious day of spider poisoning, but the sensation was addictive. The very next time I was asked to cleanse a house, I found another spiderling. It was strange that I found another right away and not a perfectly run-of-the-mill human-looking haint, but it shot out at me from under a closet door. Its mutation, a second set of legs tipped with pincers, and I didn't hesitate to eat it. And the next one I found, and the next one, and the next, and many nexts since. And this time too, the urge hit my brain straight away to keep my form, but shift completely into the spirit world and then rise up through the floors and ceilings of this rambling house as if it were mere mirage, soaring at the noonday sky like an ocean dive in defiance of gravity. But I had already collected my upfront fee from the charming elderly couple that lived there, and now I needed to collect the rest of it. Classes, rent, normal non-ghosty food. I didn't charge a lot, but it would at least give the debt dog a bone to run off with and chew on. Emma Manderley was a frequent customer at the fabric store who knew about my specialty in clearing malevolent influences. The word gets around, among those who care about such things. And the Manderleys had just enough sensitivity between them that they would know the thing that had bedeviled their sleep was gone without my even needing to say so. They were waiting in their station wagon, sitting in the driveway with the radio playing. I had told them I only needed a few minutes. My magic never took more than a few minutes. I looked forward to their relieved smiles. My brain buzzing pleasantly from the poison, I climbed the spiral stairs out of the musty basement, traipsed through the slightly less musty ground floor, and glanced out the front window as I crossed the living room. The station wagon was completely blanketed by a substance like dense strands of shimmering gauze. A slender woman in slate gray business attire, knee-length skirt and matching jacket, was striding up the front walk. I didn't slow, didn't want to linger in the window where she could spot me. I leaned to spy through the front door keyhole. I've known since I was a little girl that there are other people like me. My parents weren't spirit folk, but my father's sister was. Not a blue jay like me, but a raven. She taught me to be who I am and to be wary of others who do what I do. See, you might wonder why I don't spend all my time as a bird, and this is why. Our world of meat, metal, and bone is a dangerous place, but the spirit world is 100 times worse, filled with predators, no laws, no one to force the cruel to rein in their appetites. Ghosts are our natural prey in our animal forms, and they can be dangerous enough. Though before I started finding the spiderlings, it used to be that if I rooted out a ghost, I could just order it to leave and it would flee because it knew what I was and what I could do. But there's many out there that don't limit themselves to just ghosts. I could tell right away this woman had a spirit shadow. It loomed dark around her in my second sight, even though the day was bright. White streaks flared from the temples of her page boy to frame a narrow face split by sensuous, disproportionately wide lips. She could have been 20 or 60, her features smooth but not youthful. Behind her, a single strand of blue spiderweb rose straight into the sky. And behind that, I recognized the same webbing, cocooning the station wagon and the poor couple inside. The driver's side door was ajar, bound that way by the webbing. I wasn't going to get my paycheck. The woman stepped onto the porch, raising her fist as if she intended to knock. Her dark eyes narrowed, and I had a second to realize she was staring right at me through the door. I leaped back and stretched my wings. She changed too, her fangs missing my head by less than an inch as she phased right through the wood. A spider, large as a minibus, legs longer than my wings, glared at me with 8 eyes like black pearls embedded in coal shiny hide. Her form flowed straight through the walls of the house as if they weren't there, just like mine did as I beat my wings in thunderous panic, shoving as much air between us as I could, my heart shrieking with fear. I flapped fully into the land of the spirits, leaving behind the world of flesh. Surrounded by the sourceless silver light of the spirit realm, I risked a look back and discovered the spider had followed me, clambering after me at terrifying speed on her single strand of blue thread. I should have easily left her far behind, but the thread moved of its own accord. Its anchor point, somewhere out of sight, high in the heavens, kept pace with me as I flew, matching my maneuvers. I risked a plunge right at it, meaning to snip it in half with my beak. It dodged me and sprang back, and I bet if I hadn't ducked so quickly myself, it would have looped around me. And worse, the spider picked up her already impossible pace. She called after me in a shockingly honey-sweet voice. Birds eat spiders, but spiders eat birds too. She didn't have to run anymore. She was level with me, merely had to ride her magic thread till I tired out. I knew what was hunting me, who she was. My Aunt Audra told me stories about the Night Queen in the Silver City, who savors drawn out death, who only ever pretends to show mercy because she loves to watch her victims' hope die before their final agonies begin. She calls herself Lilith, my auntie said, but she's not that Lilith. They say a couple hundred years ago she was human, but no one calls her one now. And a few months ago, I met a couple like me, good people like Audra. They were passing through Hagerstown, stopped in the coffee house across the street from my store. An odd pair. Corey's a bird person like me, a killdeer. But Nathan, he's a panther, but missing claws. He had two prosthetic hands. I thought at first he'd fought in Iraq. They were both friendly, super friendly, but they never told me what did that to him. I mentioned Audra's stories of Lilith, though, and they both went pale. She's not a story, Nathan said, and they warned me to stay away from her. For Nathan, it was like the words got stuck in his throat, but Corey told me what she looked like. And now I remembered her description: narrow face, hair white at the temples. A black widow as big as a house. I hope you never look on her. I would not live to tell Corey her hopes had come to naught because I couldn't get away. Not just because I couldn't shake Lilith's magic thread, but because out there in the ceaseless silver light, here and there, I started to see shadows suspended in the air, things with too many legs emerging from the physics-defying passages that in the spirit world are as numerous a mile in the air as they are a mile underground. More creatures like Lilith, at least a dozen, not as big as her, but bigger than me, but not close enough to catch me, not yet. It was just a matter of time before my constant swooping to keep out of reach of the Night Queen put me in range of one of her clan. I could only think of one thing to do. I didn't have to fake the quaver in my voice. Your Highness, what have I done to upset you? How droll that you know me, she said. Someone of your kind should stick to acorns. You keep murdering my pets. Pets? The spiderlings? Those strange mutant ghost things that invade the homes of the mundanes and drive them crazy with nightmares? My stomach lurched at the thought of killing anyone's pet, a terrible guilt twisting through me the instant before my rational side tamped it down. Lilith could not mean that term of endearment the same way you or I would mean it. The Night Queen grieves for no one. I continued to avoid her, though as the old joke goes, boy, were my arms tired. Those weird little ghosts? Why would you care about them? My dear, those weren't ghosts. Surely you could tell by the taste. But I'd never eaten a ghost before. That spiderling across the hall attacked me. How many ghosts had Lilith devoured over her long lifetime? I couldn't imagine. I gave her a version of the truth. I thought it was their mutation. I've heard of spirits changing themselves, mutilating themselves, trying to become demons. Lilith laughed, the sound grotesquely emphasized with the waving of her fangs. Stupid child. It's our kind who does that, chooses to modify the forms we're born with. Ghosts have no such power. And surely Lilith knew what she was talking about as the living, breathing, supreme example. Tasty as ghosts are, though, I have found that the little human flies make for finer dining while they're still alive. I've been experimenting, indulging my culinary skills, figuring out the best method to sup from many of them all at once. I couldn't help myself. Oh, no. Her voice brightened with mirth. You have been eating tiny little pieces of me. I might then have simply folded my wings together, dropped like Icarus, and hoped quick death on jagged rocks waited below. I was so fucked. I said, Your Highness, I didn't know. I am so sorry. I am sure you are sorry, she said. But perhaps you can make it up to me. Let me take you to the Silver City. Her pearl eyes glinted. You are what you eat, you know. Let me study you and see how your diet has affected you. I bet you've already changed in ways that will surprise you. I've never been to the Silver City, I said, vapid as a reality show star. I'm honored. More of her kind crawled through the air about me, awaiting the right moment to spring. I'd like to go. She stretched out her long, sleek forelegs in the most disturbing offer of embrace I have ever seen. You'll have to let me bind you, I'm afraid. I promise I won't bite. I flapped away again. I was starting to wheeze, my spirit form unable to stave off the sensation of swimming a marathon. You don't need to, I gasped. I'll go willingly. My promise only comes with cooperation. She said it so soothingly. I knew I would be better off forcing her to kill me quickly. Okay, then. I panted the words, flapped my wings in a short, painful burst, and then stilled them, letting that thread drift closer, easily within her reach. She continued her ruse, reaching for me gently rather than snatching me from the air. It bought me the time I needed to pull my wings close and dart straight for her face. Those of us whose spirit forms take an animal's shape can do all the things that that animal does best without need for a second's thought. Lilith proved herself learned when she taunted me with that acorn crack. Blue jays like to pin acorns with their feet and break them open with a single peck. We have very strong beaks, except my talons closed over her two largest eyes, and my beak struck her hard as a jackhammer and the closest thing a spider has to a brow. Her oversized exoskeleton was thick as a brick wall, and I split it wide open. I dropped away, but I still wasn't quick enough. No way could I ever have been quick enough. She didn't try to grab me. She was in too much pain, I think, but she struck out of sheer instinct, sheer hate, sheer vengeance. The daggers of her fangs pierced my stomach, and pain exploded through me like she'd pumped magma into the wounds. I screeched as I fell, flapping my wings to escape the agony, but it was inside me, fire worming through every vein. Lilith's magic thread came loose from its mooring in the heavens, and she dropped from the sky, vanishing the next second. I didn't notice where her followers went. I was being flayed from the inside out. Those shrill, pathetic shrieks that echoed through all corners of the spirit realm, I was making those noises. So out of my mind with pain, I didn't even know the sounds were coming from my own throat. But the very thing that got me in so much trouble also saved me. After untold miles, the pain began to fade. Before I had attacked Lilith, I had played at being more worn out than I actually was. Now I really was that tired, probably 100 times worse, and I had no idea where I'd flown. But I didn't care. All those exorcisms I performed, unknowingly chowing down on extensions of pure, undiluted Night Queen, had built up my tolerance to her venom. Enough that, even though a direct bite felt like flinging myself on hot pokers, it didn't kill me. And when the agony faded, bliss took its place, a euphoria like no earthly drug could ever induce. Thoughts of disgust crawled through my mind that the substance I found so addictive was the venom of the Night Queen herself. But that realization made not a scratch on the joy that buoyed me, nor did any worries about where I would land or how I would rebuild my life, nor did the certainty that I would spend the rest of my days a marked woman. I regarded my cares like an airplane passenger watching farmland scroll by below. I was a piece of the sky, pure sun-painted blue, invincible. I flew to the east, away from the encroaching dusk, and I didn't look back. The end.
I enjoyed that. Sorry if my reactions are weird when they're
Oh no, I
poems
was
because I
enjoying
grin. Oh
you
yeah.
were anticipating my gestures. Love that. Oh, one must. One must.
Yes, you gotta have the palps. If you don't have the
All
palps, you ain't got nothing.
right. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was really fun, and I really enjoyed your reading of it too. Oh, well, it is our way at Story Hour to just take a moment between the readers to let the first story digest, feel its fire through our veins, and then euphorically feel ready for the next. Everybody, that was Mike Allen reading a story that is at the back of his new novel, Trail of Shadows. that we actually have a link for in the show notes. Next up, we have another old friend of the show who we haven't had in far too long. Jordan Kurella is a trans and disabled author who has lived all over the world, including Moscow and Manhattan. In his past lives, he was a photographer, radio DJ, and social worker. His work has been nominated for the Nebula Award, the Sturgeon Award, and the LA Times Book Prize. He's the author of fantasy novella I Never Liked You Anyway, which is especially a great title when you realize it's about Orpheus and Eurydice. The short story collection When I Was Lost, and the climate fiction novella The Death of Mountains. Jordan lives in limbo with his perfect dog and practical cat. Jordan, welcome back to Story Hour.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm reading none of those things that were mentioned in the bio, but my background is the cover of Death of Mountains, which was nominated for the Nebula and the LA Times Book Prize. So
it is beautiful, that cover.
Thank you. It was done by Inspiral Design. I have to say this because they did an absolutely terrific job. I'm fighting into the clouds here.
So, I kind of want to do that too.
I'd like maybe that as well.
It's beautiful, but I understand that there's a reason you don't have a book to hold up right now.
Yeah, because I sold out of all my copies of the book at the LA Times book festival because I had basically 2 author copies left, and I gave one of them away to my uncle who lives in LA, and then I sold the other one. So I had 2 author copies, and they're both gone. Now I have none for myself at all. So I have no copies at my house.
I think you should put one on your bookshop.org wish list. That's what I think.
That's what I think so too.
Yeah. Buy me a copy of my book.
Please buy me.
Congratulations on selling out of them. That's pretty great.
Thank you. So today I'm reading a story that was originally published in Three Low Burning Eye. I actually have the year 10 Three Low Burning Eye book. It's a physical book, but it's also coming out in the trans body horror anthology by Tenebris Press called Your Body's a Fever Dream. It's being reprinted there. So awesome. I have read this before. It's called All Her Rows of Teeth, and it's there is a shark living in the deep water that grants you one wish, but the 2 worst people in the world have found it first. So sorry. But yeah, so we're going to go with we're starting at the beginning of the end. So All Her Rows of Teeth. I'm just going to start right now. So All Her Rows of Teeth. The dive goes poorly from the start. Within an hour of cutting the engine, the radar can't pick up either the Vice Shark signal or Alessandra's. And I need both if any of us are going to see land again. So, because Alessandra was wild enough to go searching after the Vice Shark, I got to go searching after Alessandra. Not because I still love her, but because she's worth millions. Millions of millions, and I can't lose that kind of paycheck. The blip of the radar hits the tip of my frustration. There, Caleb, there. The captain doesn't have to tell me twice. Already in my overwrought gear for an overwrought dive, the riggers double-check it quickly before I figure out my mask and fall backward into the ocean after a woman worth thousands of memories and a shark whose legend spans deeper than all its rows of teeth. Not long ago, Alessandra refound me in my favorite bar on the outskirts of Nowhere, Georgia, looking like she belonged there. She always had the talent of looking like she belonged, wearing an old Rolling Stones t-shirt soaked from humidity and hair just as outdated. Her walk said every bit that she was careful, though, about who she talked to, where she sat in a room, and what she drank. And what she drank was soda direct from a bottle. Caleb, you look like shit. She swigged her 7-Up like it was beer. I admit, when I was younger, I'd been attracted to that kind of confidence, but I didn't know Alessandra then. What else did you expect? Alessandra leaned back in her chair like she owned every inch of the place. She probably did. I smiled, my grin full of porcelain teeth. Teeth she paid to put there. Her own grin was full of stains from a life living on the edge. We had matching smiles a while back. There had once been photos of us smiling together, but those probably got destroyed, along with me, versions 1 and 2. So, anyway, Caleb, remember all that talk about the vice shark? Oh, yeah, I said, sipping on my own RC cola, also direct from the bottle. Now Alessandra leaned in. What if I told you that I know where it is and I can lead you right to it? Bullshit. But it said it too loud, and too many people were interested, eager to be a part of this long-lost legend. So long lost that the Vice Shark story had been buried in Weekly World News, microfiche, and the Internet Archive. Both told a story of a shark that fed off most debaucherous hedonism, the dregs of humanity. People like me and Alessandra, people like all of us stuck in nowhere. And the story goes, if you were lucky or unlucky enough to find a Vice Shark, you got one wish. The trick was finding it, the wish, or the shark. So like everyone else trying to listen in, I kept my voice low and I said, also, why tell me? You contacted me like what, a month ago? After 6 years of silence? Not since the last surgery, not less since that last one more party, please, Caleb, to see me off. Why the fuck do you want me on this job? Alessandra leaned over and put her hand on mine, her perfect, smooth, calm fingers covering up my twitching ones, twitching from nerves and annoyance. I didn't like this, and I didn't want Alessandra here. Caleb, you know why. You know why. She smiled then and stood to leave, but she didn't go. She was waiting for me. I hesitated a minute, then a minute longer. Alessandra knew me too well, but I knew her just as well. The vice shark was bait. Alessandra was leading me on to something else. Diving into the murk, this far out where the water is mean, that's my favorite. This far above the Mariana Trench is enough danger to get lost and enough worry not to get anxious over. This is the Death Valley of the ocean. I am stupid enough to come all the way out here, brave enough to dive here, and desperate enough to go after something like the vice shark. At least I was, but I'm not that guy anymore. Alessandra used to understand me like I understood her because she was me at one point. Because I was the girl who understood marine biology at undergrad with her, partied with her, and followed the smell of her $30 hairspray around like it was better than cocaine, which we both knew wasn't true. Then I transitioned and kept on with the drugs, got a boat, started taking people out on dives because international waters were a thing, and drugs didn't matter out here where the water was lawless. Out on the waves where I could navigate while half sober while everybody else partied, puked, and nobody died. Until they did. Alessandra faded, and I had grown part after graduation because she had a penchant for being bad on a big dime with women who did the same, and I was the guy who played Risk with fewer zeros. But Alessandra had always had a death wish, and one day she came around, and that's how me, version 2, disappeared. She whispered me that night out on the water, under the stars. Everyone was asleep. The party left a damp confetti on the deck, bass thumping in the background. Alessandra and I were still awake and sobering up, finally. I'd only agreed to take her out here after a long reconnoiter. After 3 months of messing around in her apartment and promising that everything was like it used to be. After 4 months of me being a tourist in her life where she showed me how she lived. That night, though, on the water, the moon was setting and the dawn was threatening and promising everything between us was all right and like it would always be, she said, "How would you like to kill a billionaire?" I didn't answer. We just messed around on the prow until sun came up. Best sex of my life. Unfortunately, she didn't die. Other people did. It was Alessandra's fault, and she spent a shit ton of money hiding the evidence. Boat sunk, bodies gone, and me, I'm not who I was. Name changed. Dental records gone. Nose new. Cheekbones smashed and reworked. I got transplants, plastic surgery, lost my captain's license. My lifeline to being Caleb Gall is dedicated to Alessandra Faden, delivered to a P.O. box in Nowhere, Georgia, and unmarked bills. It became me. Version 3. I used to think Alessandra was only pretended to be in crime. Truth was she was. Deeply. Now I'm chasing her like she always did, churning in the wake of her destruction because I have no other choice. If she dies, I die. If she goes, I go. Whatever I say I gotta do. That's how it worked when we were 18, and that's how it works now. I'm too old for this, and if she's chasing her death wish down there with a vice shark, so am I. In college, Alessandra was intoxicating. The drugs she got her hand on were intoxicating. Everything about her, the way she talked, the way she drove, the stories she told, all intoxicating. Just breathing in her secondhand life made me high. The way she walked was a sway, like the wind didn't blow unless she told it to. The way she turned was on point. I didn't want to be Alessandra. I wanted to be with Alessandra for the rest of my life, and I did try. I did try so hard. But Alessandra couldn't be tied down to anything for more than 10 minutes without wresting control back. Even when she hired me to get this all the way to sail, all the way to Mariana Trench to find the vice shark, she had to oversee every detail. I didn't sign off on anything. I just pointed at what I needed on the computer screen, and she took it from there. Her face as unreadable as a seagull's, her eyes as mean and as hungry. This is what I'm thinking about as the crew lowers me down farther and farther into the dark water. The suit I'm wearing is rated for impossible dives like these deep, deep dives where people are going where they really shouldn't. And I've got the captain in my ear feeding coordinates into my HUD of the Alessandra's last location. I have about 50 meters before the water gets too cold for the suit to function. The blip on my radar says Alessandra is 20 meters below me. Her vital signs are low, going lower. She's also not moving. My own vitals spike and the access to the line boat tugs. I tug on it twice, letting them know I'm fine. But they're right to be concerned. Those guys have my best interests in this. They hate Alessandra as much as my life with her is complicated. I should leave her behind. Leave her down here to die. Boo-hoo, big accident, big whoop. But I never was that smart. I was once obsessed with the vice shark. Back when I was getting clean and looking for a new fix to supplement my old ones. Got really into conspiracy theories. Things like birds or government drones and stuff like that. The vice shark, though, has always been a fascination. It was unprovable, irrefutable. No one had found it and lived to tell the tale, except for an old forum mentioned back in the late 1990s that ended with, "There always has to be a vice shark." Always. The legend was basically dead. No news online anywhere for over a decade. I never said a damn thing. I always was good at keeping secrets, but surgery is one hell of a deal breaker. Because coming out of anesthesia on my last facial reconstruction surgery, the one Alessandra paid for because of her massive murder fuck up, I blabbed everything. When I woke up, she was shaking me. "What do you mean there's a hedonistic shark in the ocean that grants wishes?" "What?" "Caleb, the shark that grants wishes. I need it." "Alessandra, that's my one thing. You have everything. You owe me." She locked the door of the hospital room and switched off our phones. In the weird post-anesthetic clarity, I noticed that her nail polish was chipped. It was never chipped. Her eyeliner was smudged. It was never smudged. Her tone was furious and strained and tired, and she looked basic, like only a couple $1,000. "I owe you? I owe you? I just saved your entire life, Caleb Gall. You owe me at this point, like a lot, and this Hedo shark or whatever is the payment. I need it." I tried to rub my eyes and grab my wrists, and she grabbed my wrist. Don't. The skin graft is still fresh, and anyway, what's it called? Vice shark. And you're not going without me. Deal? Deal. I reach Alessandra quickly. The HUD hasn't had time to fully set up, but it's fine. It'll be fine. She still has vital signs, but barely. Her O2 cord is wrapped tight around her arm, and something shredded her access cord to the boat. Guess that's why the weird signal. Gently, I unravel her O2 cord, watching her eyelids flutter behind her HUD, which is flashing red and is way unhappy. So I do what any contentious friend with benefits would do. I shake her. Alessandra wakes me with wide eyes that are dark and wrong. Her HUD blinks all the warnings, reading all sorts of wrong things, while mine is calm, like everything is fine, but I'm not. I'm panicking, and she's gripping my arm tight. She grins with too many teeth and brings up a gloveless hand that I recognize as too late is not a hand. It severs my access cord with a single swipe. So much of Alessandra is inhuman now. Her hand, her rows of teeth, her eyes, and not Alessandra grabs me and pulls me to her. We plunge down together. Down and down, sending bubbles from my rebreather up way too fast. My unsynced HUD continues to read everything just peachy, thanks. Not Alessandra's display is red and angry, total red alert, which is why, thankfully, conceals all her teeth as she smiles at me. When I was me, version 2, I thought I had a good life. Could do whatever I wanted, live lawless, which is what my clients wanted. Anything goes. It was the name of my ship. Anything goes. I was not exactly an attractive man. Too tall, too skinny, too wiry to be truly handsome. The last guy anyone wanted to do anything sketchy with, especially hiring me to be captain of boat for their messes about in the deep water, which is why I found the right clients. The reviews are 5 stars all the way down. When I was me, version 1, I didn't have a good life. Everything was an adjustment. My clothes, my hair, my eyeliner, everything I said was too much, too loud, too brash, too everything. I didn't like a damn thing about me. So when I learned about what transgender was and applied it to me, it was such a relief that allowing that too muchness to occupy the right face, the right body, the right hands, the right smile. Even though that version was Alessandra's favorite, I could never live up to her expectations of who she wanted me to be. Couldn't ever measure up to what she wanted, her ideal of the woman she wanted me to be. I didn't have the income, the pedigree, the gravitas, or the tolerance ever for her lifestyle or for her. Me, version 3, suits me. I'm more attractive, though still kind of weird looking. Being a nowhere Georgia suits me. Hanging out at the bar I like suits me. Drinking RC Cola from a bottle suits me. Being sober suits me. Playing the same song on the jukebox suits me. Occasionally, playing pool badly suits me. I like being single, and I like being alone. And now this me, version 3, the one I like best, is being dragged down too fast, too hard, the coldest, darkest, meanest parts of the ocean by Alessandra. The woman who made this version, the woman I owe my life to, and the woman I chased my entire life around. Never measuring up to. Also the woman who spent her entire life, at least that life that I've known her, trying to die. In my head, not Alessandra's voice comes in with too many S's. Caleb, you look like shit. My teeth chatter as she holds my arm. My heart beats too fast and too cold. My vision starts blurring as her face warps around her flashing red display. Her grip tightens. Her descent quickens. The water is so dark, it's like bathing in fear. Blips of light come from here and there as the water lights up, and her angler fish and other things with too many teeth and similar vendettas. I want to answer her with something clever and something fun, but all I can say is, well, what did you expect? And then the water gets too dark to see her face. In my wildest drug-fueled dreams, I had Alessandra's life, her closet, her cars, her stock portfolio, but she always told me, you don't want that. You definitely don't want that. They'd hate you. They'd hate every word that comes out of your mouth. So I learned quickly to stop wishing for that sort of thing. Spending time with Alessandra in New York was a lesson in how bizarre her life was, how weird she was to hate everything she'd spent. Every gasping breath to try to be something, someone, anything else. And here she is, that something else, looming over me, helmet off, face changing, so many teeth and blackening eyes, skin going gray and losing its pores. I am still in my helmet. The headlights up. But the readout lies to me saying, everything is going to be just fine, Caleb. Just lie still. Just breathe. Just breathe. You're going to die here. It's fine. It's fine. We can be together here, Caleb. You and me, finally. Just wish to be me. This weird, not Alessandra, is not the friend who'd spoken in a half smirk her entire life. Her mean girl special. Now her mouth is too wide, taking up too much of her face. As the knot hand strokes the side of my helmet, I'm officially freaking out. My heart beating in my throat. I am going to die here. Die while not Alessandra holds me down to the ocean floor with my head dangling over the edge of an undersea trench. Just wish to be with me. This is what I wanted for so long, right? This is what I wanted since I was 18 and followed her around campus, jumped into the passenger seat of her car. This is what I wanted since she asked me to kill her. This is what I want since accepting her paychecks. But now, none of it is appealing. So I ask, what happened to your face? I made my wish, she says in my head again. I became the vice shark. She pushes me closer to the edge where the hot air filters up like a whisper of malice. Her grin widens with too many teeth, worse than the smirk. Now it's not how I wanted to die, and I will unless I do what she wants. I hate her even more. I want you to be the vice shark too, Caleb. We've always been together, you and me. Don't kill that now. Not Alessandra isn't lying to me. My surroundings aren't lying to me. My body feels numb, drugged, like I'm coming down from MDMA, and all I want to do is be one with the concrete. Except it's not concrete. It's the ocean floor. And I'm not partying with my friends. All I have is Alessandra, the vice shark, and she's brought me down here so she could do what she wanted. The thought hits me like shock. It's been decades of doing Alessandra's things. In college, I did what Alessandra wanted all the time, every time. We went where she was going. I took the classes she chose, dated the boys she thought were cute. The only part of my life that was truly mine was transitioning, which she was wholly against, until she heard my business, and then she found me useful again, I guess, for this. The shock sends my HUD into full compliance, my eyes wide and me hyperventilating. Alessandra the Vike shark pushes my torso into the volcanic heat, hits my back. It feels her breath screaming at my mask. Say you want it. Full spit and fury. Say you want it, Caleb. Say it, and I'll let you live. I want it. It's a lie. I have to lie to live. I want it. I want to be with you, Alessandra. It's all I've ever wanted. Part of it is true. Had been true so many times for so many years. I wanted to be with her, to be around her, experience her life, be seen with her. The mention of her name got me clout and clients. Talking about my life with her got me even more clout, more clients. But that life is over now. I like being a nobody in nowhere, Georgia. I like just like getting her paychecks. I like being not around Alessandra Fajan. I like being me. Wish it. Wish it, Caleb. I'll say it, but I'm panicking. Say what? Say, I wish. And then the rest. I'm busy trying to pull myself up off the edge, but Alessandra the Vice Shark is very strong. She could easily toss me over this sea cliff. I'm pretty sure my ability to swim is nil. With a flick of her arm, I go sinking into that hellmouth of bleak water. I wish. I pause. I don't want to do this. I don't want to play your games anymore. Alessandra the Vice Shark shakes me. Come on, say, I wish I could be you. What if instead I say, I wish you could have my wish so you could say it? Alessandra the Vice Shark is furious. In her fury, she pulls me to all the rows of teeth. We're face to face, her black eyes searching me for trickery. My HUD screams in my ears. I'm both low on oxygen and out of fucks to give. Caleb, just say, I wish I could be you. And Caleb Gall dies right then and there. Or at least version 3 dies. The boat pulls him up. His face matches the ID and all the documents I left behind in case something like this happened. Alessandra paid for these fake documents, and now she gets to use them to prove Caleb's death. Drowning. Terrible way to go. His helmet was gone, gloves ripped to shreds. Alessandra was missing, presumed attacked by whatever got Caleb Gall's suit, which is likewise ripped and mangled. I survived, though. When Alessandra the Vice Shark became me, the transformation was instantaneous. In a masked reflection, I watched her face become mine, the rows of teeth become those perfect porcelain teeth. I watched the face become mine as it choked and drowned, watched her swim upward in panic. The freakiest thing, though, was watching that face in the mirror die. I helped her to almost to the surface, and then she stopped moving, then let her float all the rest of the way. The boat would find her, so they'd pull her up from the water and pronounce Caleb Gall dead. I would swim away. There's a small feeling of regret, but it's gone in an instant. It was that insubstantial. There's a stronger feeling, more immediate feeling. The feeling that I need to survive that all. That feeling is far more. There must always be a Vice Shark, always. There's a need to swim, and there's a hunger. It feels like loneliness. Time is not something known to me, swimming against loneliness. There's only fear, and I know the direction I am headed. It doesn't matter where land no longer belongs to me. My teeth are too wide to make smiling palatable. My legs no longer understand walking. I belong to the sea, and the people on land belong to me. Their basest desires, their worst deeds. I find a port down and sink into the waters past the sandbar. My fin cuts below the water as I listen to the hedonism, the dregs of humanity, the worst of the worst. I listen to the calls of music, the footfalls of dance, the cries of joy and anger. I listen to bottles collide, clink, and cheer. I listen to fall and shadow and cause fire. I listen to fights and the drinks and the drugs. I feed on it all and become stronger, become full, become myself. And slowly, so slowly, I become me. Version 4. The end.
That was awesome.
That was intense.
Thank you.
So sad. I mean, not that either of them were good people at all.
No,
but
they're not good
still.
people at all. They're not good people at all.
It's so sad. I have to wonder if the world is better or worse off with Caleb as the Vice Shark.
There's always, I think he just became the Vice Shark. There's
Yeah.
almost supposed to be a Vice Shark always.
Yeah. And is the world better off that way?
I'm going to leave that. I read a thing that Margaret Atwood says that when you put a story into the world, it belongs to the reader. So I'm just going to let you decide.
Yeah, I like thinking about it. Sometimes
Then
it's
think
fun
about
to
it.
just think about the questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes more fun than finding the answers.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you because I don't know.
Oh, man.
I need to express admiration in my head because uh I I played through my head Caleb's what Caleb said when he wished, and then what Alessandra said when she wished, and I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm. The hair on the back of my neck.
clever. Awesome.
Thank you.
That was great. So good to have you two back, both of you. Well, Daniel and I will be back next week.
Yes, we will.
And next week, our readers are Samantha Mills and Thomas Ha. And they are coming, even though it hasn't been very long since the last time Thomas was here, because they're going to read their Hugo-nominated stories for us. So come watch that one too. Story Hour, we recommend also checking storyhour2020.com just to learn about what else is coming up, and you can find links to watch any programs you may have missed there, or you can go to Story Hour's YouTube channel, Story Hour 2020, and browse to your heart's content. Watch this one a few times. If you watch it several times, maybe you'll end up with a version 2 and 3 and 4. Wouldn't that be neat?
But be careful of the spiderlings. Don't eat them.
Good for you.
Be careful with your story snacking, Stephanie. Well, Mike Allen, Jordan Kurella, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us tonight. Thank you also to SIFWA for the Givers Fund grant that helps us keep the story lights burning. And thank you to Daniel Marcus, without whom we would have no Story Hour. And it's important for us to have it because we need these stories. Thank you also to all of you who are here now, whether you're watching in the Zoom, whether you're watching on YouTube, maybe even some point in the future. I'm just glad that we're sharing these stories together. It's like we're all in the same Story Hour. Good night.